Hello, my friends. My name is Miss Kristen, and I work for the Dixon Gallery and Gardens. The Dixon is a really special place. It's an art museum, but it's also a garden. We have 17 acres of beautiful plants, flowers, and trees. So when you visit the Dixon, you can learn about nature and art at the same time, which is pretty cool. The art inside the museum doesn't stay the same. It's always changing. We borrow art from all over the world and we put together what's called an exhibition, which is just another word for art show. Right now at the museum, we have a really cool show called For America. This show has all different kinds of art from across America, different artists that live right here in our country. Some of the art's really old and some of it's really new. There are landscapes and portraits, which means pictures of places and people. This show is not going to be at the museum forever. It's only going to be at the Dixon until the end of September. But today we're going to look at an artwork that's really cool in the show and learn about the artist that created it. And then I'll show you how to make a project inspired by that piece of art. Today we'll be learning about an artist named Wayne Thiebaud. He is an artist that's still alive, living right here in America, just like you and I. And in fact, he is 99 years old. He is really famous for making art of desserts, so yummy treats like cakes and ice creams, and making portraits, which are pictures of people. And the artwork that we have at the museum is a portrait of Wayne Thiebaud himself. So I thought it would be really fun if we combine those two ideas to make an ice cream portrait. So today, your project is going to be an ice cream portrait of your whole family. You can make an ice cream cone like this one, or an ice cream sundae like this one, and I'll show you both ways to create. But before we get started on our project, I want you guys to go visit the museum and see the artwork that Wayne Thiebaud made. So I asked my friend Miss Emily, who also works at the Dixon as a docent, which is just another word for a volunteer, to help me today, and she's going to tell you all about Wayne Thiebaud and about the art that he made. Have fun at the Dixon.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily. I'm one of the docents here at the Dixon Gallery and Gardens. I'm really excited to talk to you today about one of my all-time favorite artists, Wayne Thiebaud. We have one of his paintings here inside, so follow me. So right here, we have a self-portrait by, like I said, one of my favorite artists, Wayne Thiebaud. So I'm really excited to show this one to you. So Mr. Tevo is best known for his paintings of sweets. So candies, cakes, pies, all kinds of confectionery goodness. So it's really fun to get to see a picture of a person that he's painted, and this person is himself. And he calls this one the tennis player, so he didn't just paint, he also played tennis and really enjoyed that. But I think this one is really cool, the way that he uses a lot of different colors. So especially the way he does light and shadow. So light isn't just white or yellow. It can be orange, it can be pink. The way he does his shadows, they're not just gray, they're blue, sometimes they're orange or magenta. And it's really just kind of exciting to see the way that he plays with color. Mr. Tevo was a very creative man. He even spent one summer in high school working at Disney Animation Studios, working on some of our favorite Disney films. So I really just love to see the way that he uses color to express himself. And y'all might just want to think about what else you see here besides just a man standing here. Why do we think he might be wearing a hat? Can we see his eyes, or is that just shadow? What do you think he's thinking about? And that might just be some stuff that you guys want to talk about together as a group before you get into your craft project that Miss Kristen has for you. That's it, guys.
Okay, friends, let's get ready to make. You'll need a pencil, a pair of scissors, some glue, and some paper. You can see that I have a piece of construction paper and a piece of thick white paper, but if you only have white paper, that's just fine. We'll also need something to draw with, like crayons or markers. The choice is up to you. If you have watercolor paint, I'm going to show you a really cool way to combine the paint and crayons. You can also use a cup of water and a paintbrush. But if you don't have paint, don't worry, you can still do this project. You're going to start by taking your white piece of paper and drawing circles on it. You're going to draw one circle for each member of your family. Your family can be your parents and you and any siblings, but you can also draw circles for pets, grandparents, or even really close friends that you consider your family. Draw a circle for each person you want to include in your family portrait. Next, we're going to cut the circles out. Now it's time to draw. If you're going to use watercolor paint later on to paint your circles, I would use a crayon for this step. That way it won't get all smudged when we paint it. But if you don't have paint, you can use markers, colored pencils, or crayons. That part's up to you. I'm going to draw a different member of my family on each circle. Remember that portrait we looked at of Wayne Thiebaud? He used bright colors in his artwork to make it stand out and look really vibrant and happy. So that's what I'm doing here too. I'm switching my colors and using lots and lots of variety when I'm drawing my first portrait. I'm going to include both of my dogs in my family portrait, as well as myself and my husband. This one's of my dog Clementine. Now I'm going to get a new circle and draw a different member of my family. This time I'm going to draw my husband. Every time you make a new member of your family, get a new circle. Don't forget to include yourself, and you can make as many of these as you want. Now that all my portraits are made, I'm going to go back and add a color for the background. If you don't have watercolor paint, you can just color in the background using a crayon or a marker. Choose a color, color it all the way in, and don't leave any white spots showing. If you do have watercolor paint, you can draw your portraits first in crayon and then go over them with watercolor paint. Because the crayon is made out of wax, the paint won't stick to it and it will still show through even if you paint right on top. Using either paint or markers and crayons, make sure to color in the background for all of your portraits. If any of your portraits become hard to see, you can go back with a black marker and trace some of the lines to help them stand out. If you painted them, make sure they're dry before you do this step. Now it's time to put all of our portrait scoops in a big, yummy sundae. You can choose whether you want to put your ice cream in a bowl or an ice cream cone. If you want to make a bowl, you'll draw a half circle, which kind of looks like a capital letter D, and cut it out. Make sure that it's big enough to hold at least 2 of your scoops side by side. Now you can decorate your bowl. Using markers or crayons, add some pattern to make your bowl look fun and festive. Now you can arrange your ice cream scoops in the bowl. Let them overlap a little bit at the edges, that way when we glue them in, they'll stick together. Once you know how you want your ice cream scoops to be arranged, turn your bowl over on the back, grab a glue stick, and add a little bit of glue towards the bottom of your first portrait. Then glue it to the top edge of your bowl. I like to hold it and count for a few seconds to make sure that it's really stuck and it isn't going to come off. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and glue your other scoops on top of the first 2. Just a little bit of glue is all you need, and you don't want them to get too far apart, otherwise they won't stick very well. You might want to make an ice cream cone instead of a bowl. If that's the case, cut out a big triangle from your construction paper or from white paper that you've colored. Next, you can add some details like stripes or cross marks to make it look more like an ice cream cone. Grab your first circle, put a little bit of glue at the very bottom, and glue it to the top of your ice cream cone. Then, grab the next circle and glue it to the top of the first one. Stack each scoop on top of the other until you've got a really tall ice cream cone that represents your family. I thought it would be fun to add just a few extra details to my ice cream sundae, so I'm going to draw a cherry on the leftover white paper I have from where I cut out my circles earlier. I'm going to draw my cherry, color it in, and cut it out. You might even want to add something like whipped cream, which kind of looks like a cloud shape. You can glue that to the top of your sundae, put your cherry on, and maybe even go back and add some sprinkles. Yum! That's it. My family portrait is complete. I hope you had fun making this. You can get really creative and add as many details or as many scoops of ice cream as you want. I'd love to see what you made. If you're really proud of your ice cream creation, you can share it with the Dixon using the hashtag #DiscoverTheDixon or Dixon at Home. Thanks so much for following along, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye!